welcome back to the Listed Podcast. I'm Cameron Clark. This over here is 2002 third-round NFL draft pick, Jackson Schroeder.
Third round?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Are you saying I'm undersized?
Maybe
Is
just
that
a little bit.
Okay, Cameron. What?
What were your senior year rushing numbers? I don't know. I just know you play football. I don't know.
Wait, where? I don't want to say.
Okay.
Do I JV or varsity numbers?
Ooh. I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
You at least got a touchdown that year, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's all that matters. That's worthy of a third-round draft. From high school, no college experience. I'd say that's pretty good.
Okay, deal. But this week we're talking about draft picks. We're ranking our top draft picks out of BYU based on their career and their value in the respective league that they were drafted. And kind of in preparation, I've been watching The Last Dance, which I don't know what that really has to do with draft picks. I just love the docuseries The Last Dance. It's on ESPN Plus. If you haven't watched it, check it out. ESPN, please sponsor us. But something cool in episode 2 is talking about MJ breaking into the Eastern Conference playoff race in the finals. And in game 2 of the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs, the Bulls play the Celtics, which the Celtics have a BYU guy, Danny Ainge. And in the show, it talks about how MJ went golfing with Danny Ainge and how Danny Ainge took him to the woodshed on the golf course. So the next day in game 2 of the playoffs, MJ was like, okay, I'm dedicating this game to Danny Ainge. And then just broke the NBA playoff record in scoring that night. All because he was butthurt that Danny Ainge took him to the shed on the golf course. So with that in mind, just remember, BYU guys are doing big things in the big leagues that they play on.
Yeah, how many points was that? Do you know off the top of your head?
I don't know off the top of my head.
63?
63.
That's
63 points. That is crazy.
That's insane.
It was a double overtime game, so he had a little bit more time to score, but still 63 points is pretty stellar. I'd say.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's crazy. Well, without further ado, and I'm calling this our value meal menu. These are our value draft picks. I was thinking about that. I'm hungry. I didn't get lunch. So we're going the value menu draft picks. Jackson, let's list it.
Okay, so getting things started off with my honorable mentions. I'm going to do 2 for you today. Number 1 honorable mention, Steve Young. Steve Young I had to throw in there because he had such a great NFL career, but he wasn't drafted into the NFL in the first round. He was drafted way late into the NFL, but was drafted first overall in the supplemental draft, and he actually turned down the NFL for the first couple years of his career, was drafted to the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then Steve Young, honorable mention. Honorable mention 2, I have Zach Wilson on here. Second overall pick, really made a splash. Bad fit for the Jets. I wish he could have gone anywhere else. Shout out Jerem Jordan. What if Zach goes third to the 49ers? Maybe he has a Super Bowl ring. But getting started with my list, my top 5. Number 5, draftee out of BYU, their value in their league, Sean Bradley.
Ooh.
Number 2 overall pick, started or played in 832 games, where he averaged 8.1 points and 6.3 rebounds. Over 800 games is pretty insane.
That's wild.
Coming in at my number 4 pick, I have Ezekiel Ansah. Ziggy was the man for the Detroit Lions. Franchise tag. The first time I remember talking sports with my grandma and grandpa, which that's a big reason I love sports, because of them. I remember talking about Ziggy Ansah and talking about how he went number 5 overall in that draft. Number 3 for me is going to be the man with the best nickname, Puka Nacua, the hot head in LA, our boy Puka Nacua. Round 5 pick 177, 2-time Pro Bowler. Really, really great value for the LA Rams. Pick number 2, this one I don't think will come as any surprise. Number 2, Danny Ainge.
Okay.
The man played for the Boston Celtics. Great career as a general manager. Hopefully he pulls some black magic and the Jazz can draft A.J. DeBonsa. Very possible, but 2-time NBA champion. His value for the Celtics was great. Larry Bird valued him. MJ feared him. Danny Ainge, number 2. And then number 1, I got to go with my boy, All-Pro Fred. Fred Warner, best value Cougar drafted into the NFL. 3rd-round pick, 70th overall, 4-time All-Pro. He's only been in the league 8 seasons, so that's half of his career he's been an All-Pro.
Insane.
So, Cam, that's my list. That's my top 5. What What's your top 5?
Okay, so before we get into that, you might think, oh, we went through that really fast. We're going to save our more in-depth arguments till our checking it twice segment a little bit later on. We're trying something new to keep it a little bit shorter today and then provide some better content for socials. But with my list, we're going honorable mention number 1 is going to be my driver's ed teacher, Gary Daniels, drafted in the 4th round of the 1990 MLB draft to the Erie Sailors. It was back when the independent teams could draft. Anyways, my high school driver's ed teacher had to throw him on there. Honorable mention number 2 is going to be round 2, pick 31 in the 1981 NBA draft. Danny Ainge, 3-time NBA's final starter. You can't argue with that. Almost won 6th Man of the Year in 92, I believe it was. So he's had value. Drafted a little bit too high for me for it to be considered like a lower value out of pocket draft. Coming in at number 5 is going to be the 10th round of the 1986 NFL draft. Pick 254, punt returner Vi Sikahema.
Oh, yeah.
Sikahema, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, both in his first 2 years of the league. Was drafted to the St. Louis Cardinals, which I didn't know existed before. A little bit as I was researching this, so kind of crazy.
That kind of dates him.
Yeah, I know, for real. Yeah,
Longest existing.
there we go. You heard that from Owen. All right, coming in at number 4 for me, I'm wearing the jersey. Going to be pick 1003 in the 2018 MLB draft. Utility man Daniel Schneemann on the Cleveland Guardians. That's why I'm wearing the jersey today. I mean, he's just an everyday starter. To get a value like that late in the MLB draft, round 33, back when they went to 40 rounds, I'd say that's pretty valuable. Coming in at number 3, I actually have All-Pro Fred. Pick number 70 in the 2018 NFL draft, one of 3 Cougars in the last 10 years to be taken with the 70th overall pick, which I found kind of crazy. 4-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. I just think number 2, who I have in Puka Nacua, he's got maybe a little bit of a higher ceiling. You know, I'm interested to see what he does with a little bit longer career. I see Owen giving me the death glare behind the camera. Puka Nacua, 2-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro. You mentioned pick 177 in the 2023 NFL draft to the Rams. I just think he has a little bit of a higher upside, a little bit more room to grow. Yeah. You know, if he goes these next 5 years and makes Pro Bowl all those years and is an All-Pro wide receiver, he does more in his career through 8 seasons than Fred does. That's why I have him a little bit higher. Number 1, we're going the 98th pick in the 1976 MLB draft. The only Cougar to be in the Hall of Fame in the MLB. I'm going to go with right-handed pitcher Jack Morris. Hall of Famer, 5-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champ, and 1-time World Series MVP. He grabs my number 1 spot, and that's my list. So we're excited. We're about to see our guest list now, though. We've got Mr. Brett Hammer, the B Hammer Time Show on socials. He's a co-host on ESPN The Fan in Utah County and Salt Lake County. So we're super excited to have Brett on the show today.
Yeah, and we also got to give a shout out to Alex Hammer. His little brother tells us to get Brett on the show every day. So Brett, let's check out our guest list.
Let's see it.
All right, gentlemen, here are my top 5 draft picks from BYU. Now, this list is hard, right? Because it's not necessarily just the top 5 pro athletes who have ever come out of BYU. You have to factor in their pro career, where they were drafted, what they did with it, all of that good stuff. Number 1 honorable mention, we got to give to AJ DeBonta. I know there's a lot of people saying, no, he's got to be number 1. He's probably going to go number 1 overall, but he hasn't been drafted yet, so I can't fully feel confident listing him as a top 5 draftee from BYU. Honorable mention number 2, the highest drafted BYU Cougar, Zach Wilson. Number two pick overall. Love Zach. What he did in his pro day, what he did in that 2020 season, and to get him drafted on that level, what he did, the throws that he made, going that high in the draft, super impressive. But what he did in the NFL, not as impressive just yet, though. We'll see. We still got time. At number 5, Yegor Dielman. First off, get the name right. It's Dielman and not Demon. I think what Yegor did, going from a guy who was like basically projected borderline lottery, and then no one really wanted to give the Nets any credit for drafting him. In fact, a lot of the draft grade nerds, aka idiots, because as I famously say, draft grades are the dumbest thing we do in sports. They all were like, this is a C, C+, this guy can't shoot, he only had 1 year in college, he doesn't know anything. Okay, well, if he would have been fully healthy, he probably is on the all-rookie team. So Yegor Dielman, what he did, developing a three-point game at the next level, basically becoming a full 5-tool player, incredible for Yegor Dielman at number 5. At number 4, Danny Ainge, 31st pick overall. This is a guy who got to the level of being able to go golfing with Michael Jordan, won championships, played for the Celtics. We know what he did after in his post-NBA career. So, plus, I mean, guys, look at his BYU history, further in the tournament than anyone else in BYU. So, Danny Ainge at number 4. At number 3, guys, I know you're not going to like this. I realize Steve Young was not the number 1 overall pick, but he's number 3 because he went to Super Bowls. He won championships. Enough said, he's probably the most recognizable BYU football player, like, all time. I know Zach Wilson's probably recent memory, but probably all time is Steve Young would be my guess. Again, I know you're saying he's not that high of a draft pick. Guess what? I don't care. He won championships. So where he drafted, honestly,
His value
kind of proved out. At number 2, we're keeping the theme of winning Super Bowls. It's Jim McMahon. Championships in Chicago. Was he the sexiest guy in the NFL? No, but he won championships on one of the greatest teams in NFL history.
defenses.
But at number 1, hasn't won a championship just yet. I think he was a year short, unfortunately. Give it to Puka Nacua. Easily, and I know, I put a lot of value on championships and Super Bowls and all those good things. I realize that. But what Puka Nacua has done in the NFL has been nothing short of a miracle, considering it was, what, a 5th rounder? Nobody thought he was going to be anything, didn't run that fast at the combine. To me, Puka Nacua is like, let me just make this comp, okay, before you freak out. In a lot of ways, athletically similar to Jerry Rice, in that there was nothing Puka really did at the combine that made you say, wow, but Puka Nacua, too big, too strong, too fast, all the good stuff. No measurables that like jump off the page to you, but also there's nothing you see him do in the NFL that you go, oh, that's why he didn't compete this good at the 40 or this good at the vertical. Puka Nacua makes every catch. He can run every out. He's basically just a glorified tight end playing the receiver position. Homie loves to block. And assuming he has the rest of the NFL career that we think he will, to me, given where he was drafted and his trajectory and his ceiling, I think he's the number 1 most valued BYU draft pick of all time, gentlemen.
Okay.
Let's check it twice.
Let's check it twice. Let's get into that. My first reaction to that list, where the heck is Fred Warner?
Yeah, Fred Warner hasn't won a Super Bowl. He had an interception in the Super Bowl, picked off Patrick Mahomes, and he will win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
I think the 49ers will put it together if they are healthy. Our producer Owen is big 49ers guy.
So my little brother, shout out to his jersey right here.
If the 49ers can put it together and have a healthy season, they will win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know. I think that's the blaring black eye on this list. Great list, though.
Yeah.
Oh, top to bottom. Let's, including Jim McMahon. Can we talk about that?
Let's do it, yeah.
So Jim McMahon, number 2. I think Jim McMahon, great draft pick. One of, until Steve, which it's hard because Steve came immediately after, but the greatest quarterback out of BYU until Steve Young, which was the next quarterback that played for BYU. But all-time great at BYU.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been in an ESPN documentary phase. I watched the 30-30 on the 85 Chicago Bears. Jim McMahon was the quarterback of that team. The documentary didn't talk about Jim McMahon. The documentary talked about the Chicago Bears defense. And it was the Bears defense that won that Super Bowl. And I think a lot of people would tell you that Jim McMahon's quarterback play, now I'm a BYU guy, love Jim McMahon, they would tell you that his quarterback play was mediocre. And he won the Super Bowl, though, so he has the ring.
Yeah.
So he should be on the list, and I like that inclusion.
And I like that inclusion, too. Jim McMahon was actually the first football jersey that I ever owned. I was a big Chicago Bears fan when I was little. I thought the C for the Bears logo stood for Cameron. I was like, hey, look, it's my team.
That was the
And
C for Cleveland.
Yeah, I know. Now it's the C for Cleveland, right? I just kind of like the Midwest C teams, I guess. But Jim McMahon, I got it like one of those kits where you can like pick your own number and put it on the jersey. And so I put number 9. I'm like, that's the BYU guy, Jim McMahon. And I remember like getting like masking tape out and writing out McMahon on the back of the jersey. I think I went as Jim McMahon for Halloween one year.
Yeah.
And so I like that inclusion of Jim McMahon on there. He actually wore his Bears jersey to the White House when he was on the Packers when they won the Super Bowl because he never got to go to the White House with the Bears, which I thought is wild. But yeah, I like that list, and I like his thoughts on Puka Nacua, like, just his potential that he has in career.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with him that it's a little bit higher than Fred's potential at the moment.
I agree, and his potential might be higher, but Fred has done more.
Yeah.
Fred's body of work right now is higher than anyone else on this list, and that's why he has to be the number one player drafted out of BYU, number one value. I mean, we're talking when you go to In-N-Out, you're going to In-N-Out because it's cheap and it's really good.
Yes.
Now, these guys that were drafted super high, they expected them to be high. That's like going to Five Guys.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a really good burger that you paid a lot of money for. But In-N-Out, you pay $4, get a really good burger. Fred Warner is an In-N-Out burger. Fred Warner, you don't pay a ton of money. He's the third round pick,
Yeah.
which is one of the higher picks on my list
Same.
actually. But the expectations weren't super high, and he thoroughly exceeded expectations as maybe the best player on the best defense.
Yeah.
One of the best defenses
And
in the NFL.
I didn't include a lot of like the super high draft picks, like the Ziggy Ansah.
Yeah.
I didn't include on there just because for me, like when I think about a value pick, I'm not thinking about a first round guy. That's why I mean Steve Young. I don't know if we knew where he was drafted. Maybe I think it was like the 7th round or something in the NFL draft, and he chose to turn that down and go to the USFL. But I don't think those provide as much value in the context that we're talking about. At least what I thought about. Just because, I don't know, I think it's the out there picks. Like, I have Daniel Schneemann, right? Round 33, pick 1,003, right? For the Guardians to find someone with that value. And Schneemann, you talk about in the clubhouse of the Guardians. He's that guy who everyone loves, right? He's the everyone's favorite guy in the clubhouse. I have to throw him on there. And then I know that neither you or Brett are big baseball guys, but I have to throw Jack Morris at number 1 just because, right, we have Steve Young, who's won a Super Bowl MVP, and he's won the actual MVP as well. But I don't know, Jack Morris, he's won a World Series MVP, and he wasn't taken until, the 5th round, which baseball drafts are a whole nother level. But still, to get a value at that, like, I don't even know how many guys above him made the major leagues or how many guys after him. But just to be able to get something with that value, especially from BYU in the 70s, where they're not sending out a ton of scouts to Provo, Utah, and especially to be a pitcher out here with the elevation. That's why I have Jack Morris at number 1. I don't know. I think that's where the most value lies for him, and he's a freaking Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I can't not throw any shade on that. And Brett and I we're not huge MLB guys, and so that's out of our ballpark.
I like it.
But I like that. I like that pick, and I like the argument that you made. But can we talk about Danny Ainge? So I have Danny Ainge as number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
Brett has him at number 4. Where did you have Danny
He's
Ainge?
an honorable mention for me.
Honorable mention. So why do you have Danny Ainge so low?
So to me, he didn't provide, he was a great player and probably BYU's best NBA player to date. And what Brett was saying about Yegor on his list, I was like, holy cow, Yegor is probably going to be the best value NBA player that BYU has had right now just in NBA history because of what he did in year 1.
And considering the next drafted 3 point guards last year and the way that he's played so well. But sorry.
But I don't know. I think Danny Ainge, he was just a consistent player, but kind of along the same lines, he was the 8th pick in the 2nd round. And it's hard with the NBA because there's such little. And so I don't know if those are as high value picks, but I don't really know a whole lot. The NBA is kind of where I fizzle off, where a lot of people are like baseball. I don't know a whole lot. The NBA is kind of that for me. And so I don't have a great argument other than the fact that, he started for some great Celtics teams, but that didn't last super long.
True.
And then he ended up as a bench player for the remainder of his career. So I don't know. I think the guys I have above him, like with Visek Ahema being an all-pro, Danny Ainge never was on an all-star team.
That's a good point.
And so that's kind of where I put value is postseason awards and all-star teams.
Yeah, I do think Danny Ainge benefited from being teammates with Larry Bird.
Yes.
Right? But also at the same time, I'm thinking household names. Names that non-BYU fans recognize because of their careers in the league. Fred Warner, a lot of non-BYU fans know him. Danny Ainge. Now, Danny Ainge, I think he's most famous for his post-basketball career as a general manager, for what he's done with the Celtics and now the Jazz. Puka Nacua, is there a bigger name from BYU than Puka Nacua right now?
Fred Warner?
Fred Warner maybe, but Puka Nacua's in more headlines. for better or for worse.
That's true.
But Ziggy Ansah, I guess Ziggy Ansah is one that Ziggy. That's a passion that I had to put on because of sentimental value.
And I think that's kind of what I did with baseball.
Yeah, and then Sean Bradley. Now Sean Bradley went number 2 overall, and I'm pretty sure if my memory serves me correct, you can fact check me on this, Carson Ricks. Sean Bradley went 2nd overall. Do you know who went number 1 overall in that draft?
I do not.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Really?
Okay. And Shaq said in an interview, he said, is there anyone in this draft class that could beat you one-on-one? And Shaq said, yes, Sean Bradley. Okay. And so Sean Bradley.
Okay, hold on. So Chris Webber.
Chris Webber went number 1.
Went number
overall.
1.
So that wasn't the year Shaq was drafted.
That was not the year.
Okay, my memory did not serve me correctly. I apologize for that. But the quote that I used was correct. Shaquille O'Neal, they did ask him, like, is there anyone in college basketball that could beat you? And Shaquille O'Neal said, yes, Sean Bradley. Now, Sean also, his story is really cool.
Yeah.
Played at BYU for 1 year, then went on a mission, and then came home and didn't go back to school, went straight to the NBA draft. So Sean Bradley's story is really cool, so I had to include him on my list.
Yeah, his orthodontist was my stake president, actually.
And
So
cool.
I want to know how they fit that man in the orthodontist chair.
Yeah, they probably had a specialized chair. And I think Sean Bradley's the only movie star.
That's true.
on
None of
this list.
yeah.
So and starring side by side with MJ is
That's not
a
bad.
pretty big deal.
I think
So-
my favorite quote, just like BYU fandom part of me, they're when they're all like depleted and the aliens have stolen their talent. He's in the therapist's office. He's like, I don't know, I could go back to the mission or go back to the jungle and serve another mission. I was like, no one recognizes that reference unless you know that Sean Bradley's a member of the church.
Yeah, and going off Victor Wembanyama,
Yeah.
right? Super long, the alien, right? Sean Bradley was the first alien. And
yeah.
Where like just super long. We've been talking about him on BYU Sports Nation recently with the draft approaching and everything. Highest pick out of BYU in the NBA draft, or tied for highest. BYU hasn't had someone go number 1 overall, but he is just long. His limbs are long. His torso is long. The bro is a big guy, so I had to throw him on my list. But I think it's been interesting. This list is interesting because all 3 of our lists are very different, but with a lot of the same players.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of parity here, and I don't know. I really like Brett's list. I think that it's a very complete list. Putting Steve Young on there, I think that you and I kind of excused him because of the supplemental draft and playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when he was drafted by the Bucks, but he was successful in San Francisco. But I like his list. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's hard for me to like it because he doesn't have Fred Warner.
Yeah.
And no shame to Brett, right? I co-host on the radio with him every Thursday, so he'll hear this and then probably give me some crap on Thursday. But I don't know. I think you need to have Fred Warner on there, and kind of like I didn't include Steve on my list just because it was the supplemental draft, and so
who would you replace on his list with Fred Warner?
probably Steve.
Yeah.
I'd probably take Steve out and put Fred in.
Yeah, maybe just swap him at 3.
Yeah.
Okay. I do like the inclusion of Jaeger Doman.
So do I.
I think that as far as value goes, he's another in-and-out burger.
Mm-hmm.
He was taken in the lottery, but a little lower in the lottery. It's not like the Nets traded up to get him.
Yeah.
And yeah, just really good list. And BYU has had some success in the drafts.
Yes.
But that success is just going to get bigger and bigger, especially in basketball. Lottery pick last year, lottery pick this year. There will be a lottery pick next year, and probably the year after that. Maybe Kevin Young's whole career will be filled with NBA lottery picks. So we're excited to see that go, and we're excited to see AJ's name go off the board. Hopefully to anybody but the Wizards.
Yes, I loved the inclusion of AJ.
I think
on
so.
that list. I think that almost makes up for the declusion.
Exclusion.
Exclusion. There we go. I didn't know what that word was. The declusion of Fred Warner. I thought that was a fun list. It was a good list, Brett. So
I agree.
Without further ado, should we get to the blind ranking?
Let's do it.
All right, blind ranking this week. I'm just going to give you some names. You're going to rank them.
Okay.
I'm not going to give any additional detail, not giving anything away.
Just the name.
Just
Okay.
And real quick, sorry, before you do that, we forgot. Comment who you think had the best list. That's something we're going to try and do instead of arguing between us who had the best list. We want you guys to decide down in the comments, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, We're trying to get Spotify up and going. So yeah, comment. I don't know if you can comment on Spotify, but comment regardless.
And comment your lists.
Yes.
We love seeing those lists. It's one of my favorite things to do. Go through Jacob, I'm talking to you. Go through and comment your list. I love reading them, comparing mine to yours, and yeah, just interact. We love hearing from you guys. But without further ado, let's rank blind.
All right. We're starting off 2022 versus St. Mary's.
Okay, I'm putting this at number 4.
I have no idea what this is. I don't even remember this game.
I was on my mission for this game. I'm gonna put this at number 5.
I'm gonna go 5 as well, just because I don't know what the game is.
Yeah, I was on my mission. I don't know. I don't know very much. So,
Alrighty then. 2012 versus Utah.
this is heartbreaks.
I don't know if I remember this game either.
This game, I'm putting it at number 1.
What
Or,
is
no, number 2.
what is this game?
This is the game. Was this the game Utah blew BYU out?
It has a famous call on 4th and 18. No researching, blank.
I'm gonna put it at number 2. Is this? I think this is the one where they kicked the field goal, and there was 1 second left on the clock, and they stormed the field.
Okay.
Utah stormed the field like 3 or 4 times.
Okay, I'll put this at number 3.
Okay.
All right. 1985 versus Ohio State.
1985 versus Ohio State.
I'm gonna go with number 4. I just don't know. Owen, you've
Yeah,
well
you've
done
coped
with these.
with this.
I don't know what these are. And I want to next episode we record. I want to bring back this list and see and reference how poorly we did.
I'm also gonna put it at number 4.
Yeah.
Alrighty, both at 4. Let's go 2026 versus Texas.
2026.
Yeah, this has got to be heartbreaks.
Do we play Texas in
Yeah,
2026?
in the NCAA tournament.
Oh
How
yes.
did you forget?
Sorry, I was in like
we
this is supposed to
watched
be
that
Texas
game
Tech?
together,
That's
Cameron.
true. We were there. Shout out to the one guy. Do you remember his name?
No.
He was hilarious.
One that sounds like a disease.
No.
This
This was someone we watched the game with.
Shout out to him.
I'm putting that game in at number 3 because it was heartbreaking, but my heart was kind of hard.
I think I'm gonna put him at number 2. I think that's because I just have number 1 left now. So
All right, so Cam has number 1 left.
I also have number 1.
All right, number 1's left. 2020 versus Coastal.
Oh,
Carolina.
yeah.
okay,
Good
Heartbreaks.
number 1.
Yep, I'll put that at number 1.
Oh man, so
Freaking mullets.
this game, I used to get very emotional watching BYU football, and I remember watching this
Used
game.
to? Just kidding.
I would rage. And I was watching this game in my grandparents' basement, and Dax Milne came up 1 yard short, and I started cussing, and I kicked the garbage can over, and I crashed out. My whole family was there, and I had to go. I went and sat on the couch and just seethed. And oh man, the freaking mullets! I hate those guys. Okay,
Hey, we beat him in women's basketball this year, though.
I know, and
That doesn't make up for it.
okay, so my blind ranking is it heartbreaks?
Is heartbreaking losses in BYU sports history.
Okay, this is a fun one. This
excited.
a lot of emotion is attached to this, and with you guys, comment your lists of top 5 heartbreaks. What you comment might make it onto our
Yeah.
list for our next show. But
So comment both lists, today's and for next week's.
amen. So I've got number 1, 2020 versus Coastal Carolina. 2, 2012 versus Utah. 3, 2026 versus Texas. 1985 versus Ohio State, and 22 versus St. Mary's. I actually kind of vibe with this. I don't think it's terrible.
Yeah.
I'll need to study up on the 2022 game against
Me too.
St. Mary's because I missed that game. So.
Same.
Also, the 85 game versus Ohio State, I was not alive. So
Yes, me neither. Was that a football game?
Yeah,
Okay.
they were defending champs going into the Holiday Bowl against Ohio State, and
Okay, that's
Ohio
right.
State smacked.
That's
them.
right.
Yeah,
Was Robbie Bosco quarterback of that team? I think he was.
sounds right.
he was.
Now he's the mission president in Ohio, in
Yeah.
Columbus. So
Oh.
he's getting his revenge on the
Revenge.
people of Ohio.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, tune in next week.
Yeah.
When we rank the top 5 heartbreaking losses at BYU. It's going to be a tearjerker.
Yes, I think it is.
A lot of emotion, because I think as fans, we have a lot of memories associated with the good wins, but even more memories associated with the tough losses.
Yeah.
Like I remember losing tough losses, or maybe it's because I grew up a BYU fan, but I remember tough losses more than I remember great wins. So I'm excited to make this list. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, so thanks all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week as a heartbreaker and a tearjerker. We'll see you then.